What's up guys, how you doing? Alright, welcome to the tutorial for a very simple explanation of how to work and operate GarageBand, which is a Apple specific software. So assuming you have an iMac or a MacBook or a MacBook Pro, anything that's an Apple, even an iPad, I'm assuming that you're going to have GarageBand on your computer. Now, with that said, we're going to also assume that you're not too certain on how to use it and you're a beginner. That's what this tutorial is going to be made for. Now, we're going to start off by opening up GarageBand, which is a little tiny guitar. You just click on it, and this is going to open up this menu right here. You're going to want it to be under New Project, and assuming you don't have any actual instruments, meaning you don't have a piano next to you, or a guitar, or something of that nature, you're going to want to start off by selecting the keyboard collection. And what this is going to do is it's going to immediately give you software instruments to use to make a song. So double click keyboard collection. And up here, save as. This is a new project. You want to save your song as something. So we're going to title it tutorial 1 song. There, that sounds good. Down here is the tempo. This is going to show up every time you open up a new project. The tempo is the speed that the song is played. Basically, your default is always 120 beats per minute, and if you go up in it, it's going to go really, really fast, the song, or if you go down, it's going to start to slow down. I'd suggest sticking with something around 100 beats per minute, just to get started off on your tutorial. Don't worry about the signature or the key. We're not going to deal with that right now, especially for a beginning tutorial. Now that we're at 100 beats per minute and we've titled our song and we've saved it to our desktop, just so you know, which means it'll show up on our desktop now, we can click Create. It's going to open up our GarageBand. And here we are. I'm going to go up here to the top left to this little green plus, click it, and it's going to maximize it to our screen. So it's a little easier to work with. Mind you, I'm using this on a 27-inch iMac, so depending on what you're using this on, you might not see this much area, so don't get freaked out and say, oh my god, why is it not this big or whatever. It's still, everything's going to be the same. So we'll go ahead and start off with the left side up here. I'm going to explain to you what each single one of these are. These are your tracks. And what are tracks? Well, they're your select software instrument that you're going to be using to make the music with. By default, every time you open up GarageBand, you're going to have a grand piano, an electric piano, classic organ, smoky clav, the solo star, falling star, and synthro nice, whatever the hell that is. So these are all individual instruments which can be changed by clicking on them and going down to the bottom right here and selecting, say you want a bass and you want a sub-synth bass. So you would do that, and now look up over here. We just changed the track to a sub-synth bass. Okay, so we'll leave it on bass for now, and I'll go back up here to grand piano and tell you kind of what these buttons are. Mind you, if you hover the mouse over them, they're pretty self-explanatory, and they will tell you what the button does. Okay. Once the track is highlighted, it's automatically going to be ready to be recorded once you click the record button down here at the bottom. So, first button is enabling the record on the track. Next button is the mute or unmute track. If you want to mute the track, say you have 7 tracks going at once and you only want to hear 6 of them, and you don't want to hear this. You click it, and it'll light up blue. That means it's muted. Unclick it, unmute. Right here is a headset or headphones. You click that to solo out the track. Say you have 7 instruments going and you only want to hear the piano. You click that and you'll hear the piano. This locks the track. Don't worry about that. We're not going to deal with that. This here, basically opens up your automation for your tracks. We're not going to worry about that either. Okay. This here is your pan. We're assuming that you have 2 speakers going on your computer. So assuming you're making your song in stereo, if you want the sound to lean more to the left, you drag this to the left. If you want it to lean more to the right, drag it to the right. But I would keep that directly in the center so that you hear your piano out of both speakers. And this here is the volume. Okay. Say you say, oh, my piano's not loud enough on this track. I want to turn it up, or say it's too loud, I want to turn it down. Okay, so you can edit that. Let's go ahead and get started with a simple piano beat. Okay, so what we're going to do now is hold Shift Command K on the keyboard, and this is going to bring up your musical typing. What musical typing does is it allows you to use or utilize your keyboard as a piano. And as you can see here, you have A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L. And then you have the semicolon and apostrophe. So this is going to correspond to the middle row of keys on your keyboard. You look down and you'll see on your keyboard that it is A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L with the semicolon and the apostrophe after that. And of course, right above that, you have your W, E, T, Y, U, O, P. If you look at this, you should immediately think, wow, this looks like a piano, because it is laid out the exact same way. You know, you have your 2 black keys, your spaces, then your 3 black keys, your spaces, and then another 2 black keys. The thing we're going to be talking about with this is how to utilize your keyboard to make the piano sounds. Also, we're not going to worry about pitch bend or modulation or anything of that right now. One thing I will want to talk to you about, though, is octave. Now, what octave controls is where you're at on the piano. If any of you have sat down with a piano, you'll notice that a full keyboard, or all keys on a piano, the total number would be 88 keys. Okay, so up here, you know, don't count it out, but there are 88 keys there. So this is basically simulating a full grand piano. And what this blue highlighted area is where you are on that piano. Because of course your keyboard only has so many keys on it, and you know it's not going to be able to give you all 88 keys. So you can click on this blue and you can drag it up and down on the piano to where you want. Of course you go down low and you know you hit some keys here. That's really low on a piano. Go all the way up and that's really high. So say you want to play something in the middle, you know, like, okay. Basically set it to where you want it. Just remember, the further left you go, the deeper the sound is going to be, and the higher you go to the right, the higher the sound is going to be. One thing that I should let you know is when you use drums on this, it's not like the lower you go, the deeper the drum, or the higher you go, the higher the drum. This is going to be something where when you're selected on drums, which I can do for you right now, let's select a different track and we'll get a hip-hop drum on here. Okay. If I go to the middle of the track and you think you get some type of mid-drum, that's not what's going on. Different keys on the piano respond to different noises for a drum kit. So, okay. I'll tell you right now that right down here, I think, yeah, right around here, this is where you're going to get your kick drums and your snare and everything like that. So I'm going to see here. Okay, see, we got... All right, so nowhere in here do we have a... we don't have a snare anywhere in here. So I'm going to go up 1 octave. You can hit Z or X on the keyboard to go up or down. I'm going to hit the X here, and it brought me up an octave. So now, there we go. All right, so now so great, there we go. So now I've got a kick drum and a snare, and that's basically how you would start your beat off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and click record, and I'm going to hit H and L on the keyboard, and I'm going to try to go to the metronome, which is that, and I'm going to try to make a beat. So here goes nothing. We'll see what we can do. All right, so I just made a 2-bar recording, meaning this right here is 1 bar, and this right here is another bar. So just consider these boxes up here bars. We can X out of this now. We don't need that musical typing anymore. Double click on this little green up here. This is going to bring up a menu down here, which will allow you to edit what you just did. Click, drag to the left, and what I do with every single piece of music that I make is I would highlight them. These are your notes, by the way. These little gray dashes right here. This is every time you hit a key and it shows up as a note. Click anywhere you want, hold the mouse button, and highlight them just like you'd copy and paste, a paragraph or something. So click, drag, and highlight all of these. So when they're all green, go down to align to 1/16 of a note. What this is going to do is it's going to do its best to align the notes so that they're on time and they sound good. Now, of course, I'll play this through here. Hit the space bar. It'll play. All right, so if I let this play, nothing goes on after that. So you might think, oh God, if I have a 2 or 3 minute song, how am I going to keep this thing going? Well, hit the enter bar to return back to the beginning. And I'll tell you, once this clip is highlighted by clicking on it with the mouse, go to the top right corner and you'll see this little circle arrow show up. If you click the mouse, hold and drag all the way to the right, you're actually going to be extending this song in a loop. So that beat that you just made is now looped, and you can loop it for as long as you want. So you see that? Right now we've got it going on the loop. So you have your beat down. This is good. Now we're going to add a synth. Now, what's a synth? Well, a synth is basically a modulated, adjusted piano that sounds really cool. That's the best way I can figure of explaining it. You know, it has that really cool electronic type sound and things like that. So let's see. We can select Cheerful Trance and see what that sounds like. Once again, Shift-Command-K, bring up that musical typing, and we'll go to the middle of the piano right here. Let's see what we got here. All right. So what I did there is I was, let's see. So I was clicking H, K, F, and D. So go down to your keyboard and let's see here. All right. So now that we've got a cool little beat going on here, and also, let me show you what an octave does now. So I'm playing, and if I go up in an octave by hitting X on the keyboard, it's going to sound higher. So I liked it back down here, so I'm going to keep this octave, and we'll hit record, and we'll see how this sounds like. So you can kind of count yourself off when you're doing this, like 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, I don't think that worked, did it? Oh man. What a fail. Let's hear this. Let's see if this worked. Really? Alright, so apparently we have to extend these notes out because I didn't hold them long enough. I'm extending them by clicking on them. That's some tutorial. I'm sorry, guys. So let's see what that sounds like. Oh, that's bad. Okay, let's redo that. I'm sorry. God, you know, I should make a better tutorial. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, we're gonna go back on here and we'll try this again. So let's do it. Alright, so it's a little laggy on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my actual piano and just put it in from the piano and show you what it would sound like. So let's go here. Alright. So now that I use the piano, it's a lot easier. Highlight all of these, 1/16 of a note again, just to make sure they're adjusted. Bring it all the way to the beginning of the song. Let's loop it out. Enter to return to the beginning of the song. Hit the space bar, and let's hear how this sounds. There we go. Right? So, now that we got that going, you pretty much have a basic song put together. You've created a beat, you've created a, synth track, and it's sounding pretty good. So there's tons of other things you can add to it. As you see down here, you've got bass, drums, guitars, horns, mallets, organs, pianos, keyboards, sound effects. You have strings, basics. You have all kinds of things that you can add to this. So let's select a different track down here. We'll select the solo star, and we'll change it to what is that? Circuit dialogue. Now let's bring up Shift-Command-K, bring up our musical typing, and see what this circuit dialogue sounds like. Alright, that sounds pretty cool, right? So let's go ahead and try to record something like that. Alright, so I'm glad this happened. As you can see here, we're trying to keep everything 2 bars. And by 2 bars, I mean, 1, 2. Now this dragged out to 3 bars. Of course, what are we going to do? Well, we want to trim this up here. So we're going to take our timer up here. I don't know what the heck you would call this. We'll call this our red line, for lack of a better term. Put the red line on the 5 up here. And basically what this is going to do is cut the song and end it right where you want. To trim or cut, hold Command and then hit T. So it's going to cut right where that line was on this once it's highlighted. Click off of it, then click the part you want to delete. And once it's highlighted, hit delete on the keyboard and that'll delete it. So now we're back to this. Drag this to the beginning and top right, drag it all the way out. Now make a loop and let's hear that. Great. So we've got that going. Let's say we want to make another hip-hop track or a hip-hop kit and have some drums, or some cymbals or a hi-hat in the background to add. What we're going to do is we'll just duplicate this track. We could go down here and add another one, but to duplicate a track, you hold Command D. And now that just duplicated this track. So everything that's similar with the track up here is going to be duplicated down here on a different track. So what this means is bring up Command Shift K again, and let me see here. There's a hi-hat, found it. So that would be T on the keyboard. All right. We're going to try to add a hi-hat to this. So here we go. All right. So I kind of screwed that up at the beginning there. I apologize. Once again, highlight this track. We're going to trim it up here, okay? Right there and right here. There we go. Click, delete, click, delete. Bring this back to the beginning. We'll drag this out. But what did I forget? I forgot to time it out. Highlight 1/16 of a note. That should line it up. Let's hear that. We could raise the volume. Now, what I was talking about was soloing out a track. Watch. See? Now you just hear nothing but the hi-hat. Or if you want to mute it. There. So that's a basic, very basic tutorial that I sloppily threw together, so I apologize for that. But this should tell you, or perhaps get you on your way to being able to make some simple beats. And hopefully, the more you play with this, the more you will understand, and you'll get into making some more advanced beats. And the next tutorial will cover some more advanced things on this. But for now, thanks for watching the tutorial. Hope you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this piece of software that Apple made. It's really fun. Anyways, have fun playing, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a great month. Nobody ever says that. People say, have a great day, have a great week. No, have a great month. Hell, have a great year, all of you guys.